In a town that is billed as the Irish capital of Nebraska, it shouldn't be surprising that there are a large number of leprechauns running around.
It's just that the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for these little leprechauns comes in the form of gold medals at state. Lance Schwartz joins us now from our town O'Neill with the story.
It's no secret that building successful athletic programs usually begins early on when kids are young and impressionable. Well, that winning formula seems to be paying dividends these days, as the Leprechaun Youth Sports Program has produced a number of state champions here in our town O'Neill.
Get in a good position. There you go. Chop this on.
Leprechaun Youth Sports began as Leprechaun Wrestling about 13 years ago when, as the high school coach, I wanted to create an environment for our young kids in our elementary school to really, take part in the sport of wrestling and have an identity.
Brian Corkle has been the wrestling coach at O'Neill High School for the past 14 years.
O'Neill, we were one of the handful, 5 years ago, we were one of just a handful of schools in the state that never won a state championship in any activity. And now in the last 3 years, we've pulled off 2 of them. And that's a pretty special thing. And recognizing the role that this club has played in that process it's rewarding. I certainly don't take credit for it, but it's definitely rewarding.
In 2015, O'Neill finally brought home their first state championship trophy as they won the Class C state wrestling title. And a leader on that squad was individual state champion and lifelong Leprechaun Blake Walters.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal. If it wasn't for this, I would have never been where I was, so I got to give back a little bit.
It's pretty important, yeah.
Brady Thompson is an 8th grader who is well aware of the advantage he has of being a 10-year veteran of Leprechaun Youth Sports.
It motivates me really, because I think about those bigger kids and most of those high schoolers and how hard they work, and I want to be like them when I grow up.
4 years after the Leprechaun Wrestling Club got underway, it expanded to include football.
We've been able to find a lot more success with bringing home hardware the last couple of years.
Nick Hostert has been at O'Neill High School for nearly 3 decades, and he is quite certain that Leprechaun Youth Sports played a very large role last fall in the Eagles going 13-0 and bringing home the C1 State Football Championship.
Leprechaun Youth Sports has been a huge part of our athletic program, as have all of our youth programs that here inside of our community. We have a number of very dedicated adults as well as community coaches that are willing to give up their own free time really for the benefit of our youth, of our community, and that's really been an important part of us finding success at the high school level.
We are Leprechaun Youth Sports!
And while the boys' sports programs have been bringing home the hardware the last few years, O'Neill's athletic director says he has reason to believe that the Eagles' girls' programs are also on the rise.
Thank you, Lance. Coming up tomorrow at 6, we visit the art studio of an O'Neill woman who has brought home the top prize in China, painting from the Nebraska State Fair 10 times.